Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician. Hit that like button and share this stream if you're not a beta male.
When men fail to lead, the children rebel and the women take over.
Will have to come from men.
The lives of women will not change until the men get the opportunity to also examine and define and change their lives. In many ways, I sometimes think that the 20th century was the century where the women made all these massive changes, and the 21st century will be the changes that the men will make, partly in adaptation to the changes that the women have done.
And those men are doing something about it. They're saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not getting married, or I'm divorced. They don't sit around just trying to live their life through women. They actually have lots of hobbies. They go out, they buy that land you were talking about. They're out there getting motorcycles. They're having a good time, and they're enjoying life without having to deal with the stress of the women and the society that tells them they have to have a woman in their life.
How would you feel? I mean, you know, you're not going to feel that attracted to a woman or care to be loving towards her or romantic towards her. So this men going their own way is a reaction to that. I really think it's a rational reaction to that. Men are finally like, hey, we've given you all you want. You know, you are equal in every way, and then you're still shaming.
Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.
Aside to become the Kosher Clinician, the story and the war cry behind the Kosher Clinician was similar to some of the struggles and the things I have been through as a man. And some of you men are still going through that right now. There's a philosophical term called an existentialist crisis. Basically what that means is that you begin to ask yourself the question, why am I existing? What is the purpose of my existence? And I think that's the story of a lot of men that have not been more or less raised or under the tutelage of masculine men. One of the greatest indictments, guys, about the manosphere is that people assert and assume that the manosphere preaches misogyny and hate. But the manosphere is not responsible and was created a silo as an affront to women or black women. But the manosphere was a response to the pain and suffering that many black men were going through and continue to go through as we speak now. Once again, gentlemen, we are going through an existential crisis. Our country is in trouble. Some of you are in trouble mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you're not ready to move to higher ground until you get the requisite help that's going to help you become the better version of yourself.
Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher, clinician.
All right. There it is. All right. Now hit it for me.
And it ain't culture. Seven in hell is what they taught you. We'll put them, and you can back up in young dose. Kosher, clinician.
All right, stop that. All I want you to say is, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Say that first, okay?
All right.
All right, you ready?
Start over?
Yeah, start it.
No. Okay, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, and...
If it ain't seven, it ain't culture.
Okay.
Heaven and hell is what they taught you.
Okay, perfect. Do that again, but give me a little attitude. If it ain't seven, it ain't culture.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And action.
Young heads picking back up in young dolphin. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician. That was cool.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up in young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues, asking fathers who miss you, mama drama don't kiss you, all a part of the ritual, this is how they get you, separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to, damn, lovers, haters, acting like vultures, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
All right, guys, if y'all can hear me, hit 1. If you can hear me, hit 1. Thank you to the 11 that tuned in, guys. Not going to be here long. I got things to do. I got to get on the road in a minute. But we're going to have a short show, but a good show nonetheless. And do me a favor, guys. Share the stream. Donate it to the channel. Donations have been extremely low here lately, guys. Shout out to my man, Greg with Scotland House. Shout out to that brother. And we're going to get into it, guys. As you guys know, I had a class reunion recently. My 35th class reunion, it was a blessing to see classmates, to see a lot of my friends, guys, from Gen X. And I just want to say, guys, that the world has changed radically. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate, gentlemen, about, doing what I do, even though content creation of this form is hard. And I don't know if YouTube bans, I don't know. I got to start doing different stuff to help my channel grow. But I'm grateful to people like Greg with Scotland Doze and many others that show love when they can. But one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about why I do what I do, I understand, guys, that tomorrow ain't coming back. I'm not even trying to change women. If they want to change, fine. They don't want to change, fine. That's their choice. I don't have the energy or time to change people, but I do like to talk about nostalgia. Sometime in the confines of conversations, hopefully people will change and see the error of their way, but unfortunately many don't. And I'm okay with that. We live in a time where people have what's called extreme cognitive dissonance. Extreme cognitive dissonance. And guys, y'all have to forgive me, man. I got on this Wolfpack shirt. My daughter go to NC State. And y'all got to forgive me, man. This is almost this is almost sacrilegious, man, to be wearing an NC State shirt. But my daughter goes to NC State. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm passionate about what I do, guys, because I do remember a time when Gen X women, they weren't different, they weren't perfect, and Gen X women were sneaky, and Gen X women did play a role in some of the behaviors, well, I would say some of the worldviews that we have now. But they were a little better, in my opinion. Not perfect, but they were a little better. And I had a conversation once again with my colleague. She was a cheerleader in high school. I played high school basketball. And we just remember how different the world was. It was just a different world. It was a different time. Did men simp some because of the music? I mean, yes and no. I mean, we were conditioned to be simps, yes. But I also will argue that women back then were a little different too. They weren't perfect. I know they were different in the South. Where I was from, they were a little different. But they weren't perfect. And so did it conditions us to simp to some degree? Yes, but it was a different quality of women that we were simping for. Even though we still compromised ourselves, it was just a little different. And so I'm going to give you guys, it was an interview that I had with my classmate. Hold tight. Some of it, guys, is clear. And some of it is not clear. It's a short clip. Hold up. Well, actually, okay, I got it. Okay, so it's here now. Okay, perfect. And so, guys, I put a lot of time in editing this show because I want you guys to have a good show. And so please show your love by donating to the channel. Hit the like button and share the stream. Hit the like button, share the stream. But we often reflect on how women were different, how the world has radically changed, and how many men are just looking for the basics. We had secular artists back then, gospel artists,
Men would serenade women. And back then, if a woman was really into you, she was your man. Now, with the advent of social media, women have so much attention. They've been distracted by multiple men. Average women think they're better than average men. It's led to a mental health crisis for men, where average men feel like they are inferior, and they compromise their essence for the sake of a woman. And so I got a couple of clips I'm gonna show you guys before I get into the show. But like I said, guys, in the meantime, share the stream and show some love to the channel. And so let's get into it. Let's go to some of these clips, guys, about Gen X love back in the day. And I don't know if you guys hear about a short guy who threatened to delete himself. But let's look at some of the Gen X love back in the 90s, guys. Let's look at this real quick. Hold tight. And this more or less tells how it was different. Hold tight.
For me, because I'm in that sweet spot between 35 and 40, I don't know how to explain it to maybe your generation, because you look a bit younger than me. But for me, that deciding factor is that 90s, early 2000s type of real. I don't know how to put that into words as to what that is, but I know that it's not plentiful out here. And people that come from my generation, I guess, maybe can understand what that means, because everyone, I guess we live in a Instagram day and age. So for me, a deciding factor, already number one, you've already have my attention if you don't even deal with like social media. But for me, it's that 90s, even that comes with the nostalgia of that time. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not for business or things like that, but that's my deciding factor. And I don't know how to put it into words, but maybe if this clip gets posted, people will understand and be able to explain it in the comments, what I mean by that.
And I totally know what she's talking about. The 90s wasn't perfect, but we courted back then. I didn't do a lot of dating because I was in the church, but what I saw, and even the girls that I liked, the few that I did date because I was deep in the church, it was just normal for us it was courtship. It was courtship. It was a different caliber of women. They had different styles. Their hairstyles were better. They comported themselves different. I'm going to show you guys in this video from my dear friend Greta, who was a cheerleader, the beautiful sister, what Gen X was like when we were kids, and how, if you were ran through back in the 90s, you could be making no demands. You just couldn't. And Greta was bad in high school, man. You know, Greta said she's still bad, but she was bad in high school. I mean, pretty, cheerleader. We were world changers. You know, we got it straight from the mud. We were latchkey kids, and the psychology behind the 90s kids, one could argue we were one of the most resilient generations because we were that nexus point between old school and new school. We weren't boomer, meaning, you know, we weren't boomer enough, but we really weren't as new age. We were old school. We had old school flavor with burgeoning new school ideals. We had more community. We had more family. And I told you guys, one of the things that hurt me the most when my mom passed, part of my crying, I say this all the time, was that I know that those days are never coming back. If you didn't live it, you don't understand it. It was just different. You know, we had style, we had pizzazz, you know. Average men got with average women. I'm not saying hypergamy ain't nothing new, it's been around for a while, but average men got with average women. And they were grateful. But now it's such a cesspool in the dating game, man.
Much, you know, I think, and that may have been even on purpose. I was kind of ducking him. Big went on the road to promote his single, and he met Charlie Bolton.
I have loved you. I always wanted a love that made me feel like that 90s R&B. Or like those old black movies from the 90s.
If you guys didn't live in the 90s, some of the, you know, if you were into a lot of secular music, we had Sade, Anita Baker, Take Six, The Winans, Commission, community choir music, for those that were in church like I was. We just had the best of everything, man. Basketball was different. I grew up in a generation where we had Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas. Carolina was Carolina. We won the 93 national championship. We had true big back down centers like Patrick Ewing, never nervous Purvis Ellison. One of my classmates, he played high school ball with the East Carolina ECU Hall of Fame. I had a chance to play college ball. You know, word was bond. That was the word back in the day. We used to say word is bond. And when you go back to nostalgia and just think about how times were different, it can make you shed a tear. You can't live in the 90s, but it'll make you shed a tear. Some of the greatest artists was out at that time. Some of the greatest interventions. You know, it was just that bridge point. The 90s was like a renaissance, man, for a lot of people, the group in that time. I remember Whitney Houston when she came out in the 80s. I was probably, I think, in the 8th grade when she made the song, I Believe the Children Are Our Future. You know, the greatest love of all. I mean, we just had, it was just pure radical music. It was just different. Everything was different. Things were balanced. We didn't have all this crazy nonsense that you have now. And so if you're not used to having a boyfriend, you know, him taking you out on a date, you on I-95 with the windows down playing music, you know, the girls had the pretty hairstyles, the dudes had the high top fades, man. You know, we were into conscious African music, not that I'm into conscious stuff, but you know, back then, you know, it was Queen Latifah and all that. And listen, there was feminist ideologies tied into a lot of that music, but there was a lot of Black consciousness and pride back in that time, in that generation as well. And now it's greatly dissipated. Let me read this super chat from Gregory Scotland real quick. Shout out to Brother Gregory. He said, Coach, there have been some crazy stuff going on lately. We have K. Michelle telling good Black men what they should do for the community, and some woman on Pop the Balloon telling a man what he should about it. Yeah, I saw that nonsense, man. And that's why, Brother Gregory, so many guys are checking out and becoming disinterested in dating relationships because of the pathological mindset of so many modern women, and the minimization of male needs and the minimization of what men want. And a lot of men are just becoming indifferent. They don't care. They're not tripping, and they're just saying themselves, it is what it is, man. You know, and really, you can't blame them. You can't blame them because anytime a man says he wants anything in this world or in this life, it's always under the veneer of something negative, and always is under the veneer of something bad. So anytime men say what they want, what they desire, it's always under the veneer of something negative and something bad. And so a lot of guys are saying, you know what, I'm good. I'm just gonna focus on me, myself, and I. And so I'm not surprised, Brother Gregory. And thank you for your love, man, and your support. Hold tight.
That type of Black love where the two united take over the world. That healthy Black love that nourishes strong families. That Black love where they pray, they stay together. Everything I've been praying for. I always wanted a love that made me.
So the other day, I was having a conversation with my cousin, and I was telling her, you know what's scary?
And what some don't realize is that modernism and feminism and liberalism killed it. One of the biggest indictments that we have now, guys, the world have forgotten to ask men what they want. You know, there was a song called "Got to Give the People What They Want." We have forgotten to unanimously ask men what they want in relationships, and because we have forgotten to ask men what they want in relationships. We have the current quagmire that we have now, and it only appears to be getting worse because the lack of self-awareness is so prevalent in many modern dating scenes and relationships. A lot of it is tied to incessant narcissistic traits, and because we have a culture and society that does not hold certain segments accountable, then they never change. And then so when you try to be a clarion caller or a truth caller, then they look at you like you're crazy.
That in this generation, no one takes love serious anymore. If you think about it, in the 90s, back then, everybody was so serious about their partner. Cheating was such a big deal. People were actually genuine. People actually loved you. People actually stood by their actions. Nowadays, it doesn't matter who you are. People will sell you a dream and they will dispose of you. People these days, they date without intent. And if they do date with intent, sometimes their actions may even match their words. But the crazy thing is, people don't even hold accountability for the things that they do. And nowadays, people will dispose of you as if you're a lottery ticket. So the other day, I was having a conversation with my cousin, and
I did date somebody else.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did last night.
You checking me on flashy and shit? That's not my thing.
You're just boring, that's all.
It's the music, guys. I gotta turn this music down for copyright issue, but as you guys can see for some of the clips, you see what I'm looking like. You see what things were looking like back then. That was Gen X love back in the day. And everybody was smaller too. You know, she had a John B. Love. So y'all saw the drift. How I can't play these clips because of the music. But I tell you what, let's get into the clip that I have with my classmate, because I can't play some of this because of copyright. But let's get into it with my classmate. Her and I, we chopped it up, and I think you guys gonna enjoy this. So let's get into it. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland once again. He said, Coach, check out the video where the black male therapist is doing a great black breakdown to two women about the series Adolescence. He points out to them that women don't care about men concerns. I will do that. I would do that. I would definitely do that, man. Actually, yeah, I will. I'll do that. Hold tight. They don't care about men concerns, and that's why it's so problematic. Hold tight. I agree with you 100%. They don't care. We'll get to it. But let's listen to this clip real quick from my classmate. And thank you, Brother Gregory. Don't let Gregory be the only one, guys. Guys, get the likes up. Hit the like button. Share the stream. And also, guys, donate to the channel. Let's get the likes up and donate to the channel. Let's listen to it. This is one of my high school classmates, guys. Class of 90, cheerleader. That's my dear friend. Let's check it out.
It's important. I knew in high school that myself as well as my classmates were going to change the world.
Yes, right. That's true.
We're world changers.
We were world changers, yes. And Greta was right. We were world changers from that generation. Gen X is one of the most resilient generations because we were latchkey kids. Nobody was going to give us nothing, so we had to figure things out. That's why Gen X, we keep going. Some say that Gen X don't have a lot of money for retirement, but Gen X was a different breed. We were latchkey kids. We got it from the mud. We figured things out, and we didn't quit.
And I knew that we would make a difference in this world. We have classmates that are doctors and lawyers and influencers as yourself, judicial employees, lawyers. So we have changed the game. Our aim was to go to college.
Shout out to my man Quiet Faith for the 10. He said, I think the girls in the 90s and their mothers were exposed to pre-feminist grandmothers. Those women were born in the 1940s. Young women have few to no ladies who don't push feminist ideas. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%, Quiet Faith. I still say they weren't as bad, but I definitely agree with your assessment, brother. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the Quiet Faith for the 10.
And was to higher, our education. But we have some kids now, I don't think they value college as much as we did. We had one high school. Our children now have so many options. They have early college. They have STEM. They have more opportunities than we ever had. My daughter included, she received her associate's degree while getting her high school diploma. So she went to college as a junior. That's an excellent opportunity. We did not have.
We didn't have it,
35 years ago, we didn't have that option. We had one traditional high school that we had to attend, but we were change agents.
We were change agents. I love that because we were.
We were determined to make a difference in this world. So very well, I knew that he was going to be influential in this world. Not one doubt in my mind did I.
And she always knew I was a go-getter, guys. I've always been a go-getter. I was class president of my high school, but I lost the inauguration because I slipped up and said a cuss word. But I was very charismatic. I was a go-getter. I was highly ambitious, and I always fought hard, man. I wasn't a quitter, and I'm not here to denigrate Gen X, but some will argue that Gen X, the new generation, they don't fight to adversity, they quit. You know, soon as something go wrong, they're ready to give up. Gregory said, I don't know how much college education that you have if you can't handle your finance. I don't care how much college education that you have. Yeah, I agree with that. That's very true, Gregory. Totally agree.
I think that he would be anything other than a good citizen, and
Right.
he has proven himself.
And we know that going to college now don't
He's
guarantee
changed the
nothing.
world.
That.
I mean, he is
Unless you get a good
father,
degree, but
he's a
even then, it's
husband,
not a
he's a
guarantee.
professional businessman. He's an activist,
Right.
And he's trying to make a difference in this world that we live in, and I think that's awesome.
One of the things I loved about you, Greta, you know, guys, Greta was 5 stars, man. Greta said she's still fine.
Absolutely.
but Greta was bad in high school. I'm gonna show y'all a picture of Greta. Greta was sweet, man. And we played against each other in elementary school, our elementary schools. We had elementary schools back then. But Greta, let's go back to a time when women were women, ladies were ladies. Now, I want y'all to
you,
listen to
you know,
this.
Hair is pretty. You know,
I want y'all to listen to how a lot of talking points that I have on my channel and the things that men say, it's just normal. You know, people get mad, but it also shows you how radically the world has changed. It was just normal for us to think the way that we thought back then. It was just normal. It was just a normal idea, a normal thought process for men to have standards in their women. But now all of a sudden, with the level of entitlement, the lack of feminine decorum, now it's a problem.
we went from women, you know, wearing nice hairstyles to now with hair installations and baby hair on the side.
Well, I must say,
what do you think was a radical difference? Because women, what I remember from women in the 90s, women in the 90s were very dignified in my opinion.
absolutely, very
Chicks now
classy.
coming out with bonnets on their head,
pajamas,
hair installations, and they don't comport themselves like women from the past. Women of the 90s were, you know, they were a better model now. And one could argue, well, what would you say to the critics, Greta, that said the Gen X women are the reason why women of this generation are what they are now? What would you say to the critics if they said that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I mean, we were change agents. We carried ourselves dignified. This new era of generational children, I don't know where they got bonnets and pajamas and coming out of the house in bedroom shoes. I don't know if it was maybe the babies having babies. I don't know. The mothers just not being the mother and rather be a friend to these kids.
Right.
Times have changed, and I'm aware of that, and I understand that. But as a mother, raising children or raise 3 grown children, I would never allow my children to come outside with a bonnet on their head, knowingly, with a bonnet or pajamas or slippers.
Now listen to what she said. We didn't even have bonnets. You know, Gen Xers had a different decorum. They weren't perfect, and they were being influenced by feminist dogmas. Some would say that Gen X women, some of them were the flame carriers to the modern feminist agenda that you have now. But if you go back to the rural South, those women still had some of those old school values that your grandmother and your great grandmother had. It wasn't perfect. I promise you it wasn't perfect, but it was different.
We're getting up there.
We just did not do that.
right. Yeah, we're getting up there. We're getting up there. We're getting up there.
I know we're the call the older generation
Right.
now, but I don't know
Right.
what. Do you know what provoked this generation of?
You know what? I think COVID, Greta, after COVID, it seemed like, I mean, I remember teaching school, you saw it some. Girls would wear, you know, pajamas, and boys and girls would wear pajamas, but it's so bad now you got dudes wearing bonnets. Dudes wearing bonnets.
Absolutely.
You got a bunch of effeminized dudes, you know, they don't have no standards and whatnot. But you know, I want to talk specifically about dating and relationships in the 90s. What do you remember that was prolific about dating and relationships in the 90s compared to now? When you think about old school dating, old school relationships, you know, we didn't have Netflix and chill as kids growing up. You know, men would court women back then.
Absolutely.
And something else, Greta, that people get mad at me on my channel, women earned their way into a man's life. And what I mean by earning their way into a man's life, a woman by default just didn't say, well, give me a cash app, or, you know, when you go out on a...
Now, listen to my dear friend that was a cheerleader in high school, guys. She even affirms that women had to earn their way into a man's life. If you was a talented dude, you would have a greater chance of a woman being loyal to you back in the 90s than you do now. Like I said, social media has changed a lot of that. But I grew up in the country, so it was like a bridge between the old school and new school. They weren't perfect. I promise you they weren't perfect. But they were better because they were not conditioned like women of this generation. And so they earned their way into the man's life. And this dear sister is going to shock you guys with some of the things that she's going to share with you guys in a minute. Once again, this is my 35th class reunion. I'm from the class of '90, and she's going to shock you guys in a minute. So hold tight.
They, taking me to the most expensive restaurant. You had to earn your way into a man's life. And so when I talk a lot of times on my channel, people think I'm being mean, of course, but I'm not. I just remember a time where women were different. They were better, in my opinion. And so, give an example. And guys, watch this now, because Greta, right now, the big debate is women get mad at men for dating younger women. And Greta was bad.
Now listen, guys. This has always been our big debate. This has been our big debate for a while. When it comes down to older men dating younger women. This has been our big debate for a while. There's been a lot of consternation about older men dating younger women. People trying to shame older men. People calling men pedos. But this sister that I went to high school with, which proves my talking point, it was normal for women back in the day to date older men. I'm going to do a series on this, but it was normal for women back in the past to date older men. It was normal. It was actually customary. I'm not saying it happened a lot, but it did happen. And her husband was 7 years older than her. But it proves our point that this space where men congregate affirms the truth. We understand how female nature works. And this sister was honest. She said, I knew if I married my husband, he was going to be able to provide for me and protect me and give me some of the things that I need.
In high school, she was my girl. But Greta didn't take no cats on campus. Greta had her older brother. Her husband was an older dude. And so let's talk about age gap relationships. Your husband was older than you. Absolutely. And also it was normal. It was prevalent to see older girls, because a lot of times they try to shame older men for dating younger women. Y'all want these young women. But younger women back then dated older men. What was it about dating an older man, Greta, compared to dating maybe your classmates? What did you see in your husband?
Shout out to my man Ray Johnson for this cash out, man. I apologize, Ray Johnson. I got so caught up, brother. Ray Johnson always showing love, man. Ray Johnson, good brother. Shout out to Ray Johnson for that $15 cash out. Thank you, brother Ray Johnson, man. Thank you for the love and support. I appreciate it, Ray. It's Gregory Scott and Ray Johnson are the #1 sponsors for the stream. I appreciate it, brother Ray. Thank you, sir.
At the time, compared to maybe dating men in your class at the time.
Right. Well, yes, my husband was 7 years older.
7 years older.
Mm-hmm. And so when I met him, he was already in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He was already in his career. I knew by dating him that I'm just being honest, I knew I was going to have a good life.
Good life, right.
He wasn't in the riffraff. He wasn't in between jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that anything is wrong with that when people are trying to get back on.
You want a man that was stable.
But he was stable. And
right.
I knew that I would have a good life.
Mm-hmm.
More so with my classmates. I had a few that pursued me, but I did not see at that time where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you going to college? Are you going to the military?
Right.
What are you doing? It was just kind of more high school stuff.
High school stuff, right.
And I think I was a little more mature-minded.
You were.
I was a little more mature-minded.
Right.
And so I just chose to date someone much older than me. And I had a good life. I've traveled the world. I've had the best of the best. I've done some very good things in life, and maybe it's because he was older, he was more mature, he knew what he wanted in life, and I knew what I wanted in life. I came from a small.
And so once again, guys, older men, a lot of times that are savvy, hard workers, they can guide a woman. I'm not talking about a dusty older man, but I'm talking about an older man that's established. He knows how to lead his woman, and he gives his woman provision and protection. That's what I'm talking about. And that's rare. But once again, customarily, older men are just naturally attracted to younger women. The problem is we often get shamed here in the West if an older man wants a younger woman. Men always get shamed for what they want, which is a form of feminine supremacy.
Community in a rural county, and I knew I wanted a way out.
So you prove our point. So there's a concept that we use. It's called hypergamy or hypergamous. It basically means that women want the best of the best of the best of the best of the men that can progenate their offsprings. And basically says that women by nature are survivalists. And so a woman wants a man that got superior genetics, but also they want a man that's a superior hunter. And so women are hardwired to want the best of men, meaning height, resources, money, and status. But conversely, men are also wired to want younger women that are fertile, fit, and all of that. We're wired different. But however, if a man say, I want a younger woman, it's a problem. But when women date younger men, I mean, not younger men, but when women say they want an older man, then it's no issue. And so what would you say were some of the benefits of age gap relationships compared? You gave me a quick snapshot, but were there any disadvantages of age gap? Because 7 years is really nothing.
No, 7 years is really nothing, and I believe age is just a number. And men dating younger women, I have no problem with that. I mean, if that's your choice, but age is just a number. Advantage is
and you see, she don't have an issue with it. Y'all see, she don't have an issue with older men dating younger women. But once again, my dear sister was from Gen X. She was Gen X, class of 90.
Like I said, it was stability. I had stability. He knew what he wanted. There were not really any differences because I was such of a mature mind. So we kind of moved and we flowed together. There was never any, I wanted to do this or go here and couldn't. There was none of that.
Right.
I was more of a mature, and it also starts with the woman, the mindset. Now you can't hang out with single girls or do this. And nothing wrong with girl trips, having a girl. That's cool. But I just had more of a mature mindset.
But I respect you. Yeah. I respect the fact that you respected your husband, that you would respect your man. Chicks now, Greta, say they believe in the scripture. They say they believe in the mandates of theology, but they don't honor and respect their husbands. They don't honor their husbands. They don't respect their husbands. The Bible is clear. Honor and obey your husband. Women now say, oh, girl, I ain't nobody a slave. I want to ask you this question.
That's not what that means.
That's not what it means, exactly. But they take it out of context.
They do.
So let's talk about Greta. Because a lot of women don't understand that when you were dating your husband back in the past, I want you to tell the people and listen, was it not natural to cook your man a meal when you were dating your man?
Now listen to this, guys. I talk with male clients all the time in marriage and dating or in marriage relationships. And they struggle to get a meal. I got a client that he struggled. I got clients, let me say this. I have clients that struggle to get intimacy and all of that. But it was just customary that women cook men meal back in the South, guys. They worked and they still cooked the man a meal because many men worked outside the house. They did all the outside work and they worked. But her job was to do the inside house, and she worked outside the house too, just like women back in the 50s and back in the South. But now if a woman does it, she's a slave. And she said, well, you work too, so you will be a fool to get married, guys, with the typical American modern woman there. It's not because I'm against marriage, but I'm not against it, but I am against it, if that makes sense. I'm not against it in theory, because in theory, I think it's good if you get the right woman that knows how to respect you and honor you and obey you as a husband. But in modern times, with divorce court, paternity fraud, the lack of being taught to be a wife, emotional immaturity, feminist ideology, you will be a fool to get married in this modern culture.
Hold on, Greta, hold on. Was it not natural, Greta, to cook your man a meal back then when you were dating your man? Was that not natural?
That was natural.
It was natural. It wasn't no big deal?
It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
I mean, that's just what we did.
That's what you did in the 90s,
that's
right.
That's what we did,
Right.
He's working. Of course, I work too.
Right.
He was working, but that was just normal to have naturally to cook your man a meal, have a hot meal when he gets home from work.
But I'm talking in the dating phase. Did you ever cook your man a meal? I know you did as a wife.
I did.
But when y'all were in the courtship,
this is what she said. This is what she said. When she was courting her man, She cook her man a meal. But try that with some of these chicks now. They said that's wife duties. They said that's wife duties. No, they'll say that's husband. How do they say it? They'll say that that's if a man expects a woman to cook him a meal, they'll say that's only for husband. That's only for a husband. So they don't see that as this being a woman being kind, but also putting herself as a candidate to be the wife of a man. But we wonder why we have the conundrum that we have now in this crazy world that we live in.
Your face. Because I remember your boyfriend, and he was a deputy sheriff.
I did.
It was normal for you to cook your man a meal back then.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And you might even wash his clothes and they think none of it either. If he asked, you probably didn't ask.
Right. Yeah, I didn't do laundry, but what we did, we cooked.
But if your man had to ask you and say, "Look, baby, I'm busy right now, I'm hustling," would you have had an issue with washing his clothes and ironing for him?
No.
Tell me why.
No.
Because would that have made you a slave?
No, it would not have made me a slave.
Right.
It could just have been normally, hey, I'm busy. Like you said, I'm busy. Can you just do this for me this time?
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, because I was moving into being a wife.
Mm-hmm. Say it one more time. Say it one more time, sis, because they don't get it. Say it one more time. Because you got.
I was moving into being a wife.
You was moving into being a wife. So basically you were auditioning for the role of a wife.
Absolutely.
But this generation of women now say that's husband duty. But watch this. If I'm flexing on you and I see you as a potential wife of mine, is it not? Does it mean I'm auditioning to be a husband? Does it mean it's husband duty if I take you out to dinner and pay for it? Does it mean it's husband duty if I put gas in your car? Does it mean it's husband duty if I watch?
Well, what I meant to say, that's wife treatment. So they say that if a woman take care of a man, that's only for husbands. That's husband duty. But if a man flipping and say, I'm going to take you out to dinner, I'm going to open the door for you. If somebody try to hurt you, I'm going to make sure you walk on the inside. Then all of a sudden, imagine a man said, well, that's for wife duty. You just my girlfriend, that's wife duty. But men are still expected to adhere to traditional norms and traditional ideologues because we have an issue in society where so many modern women have been transfixed by liberalism. And anytime a man says he wants something or have a preference, like the guy that said he wanted the woman to have short hair, then it's misogyny and your mama's black. You can't make it up, man. You can't make it up.
Wash your car or give you some money if you need some money to get your tires done or whatever, or even give you some money for your hair if you're auditioning for my wife.
Right, if you're pursuing me.
If I'm pursuing you, right. I don't see that as no...
the potential of knowing that I'm going to be your wife.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's just, you just auditioning. But chicks now say it's husband duty if you do something kind for your husband. But when it comes down to the man doing kind things for you, okay, if you do kind things for your husband, then I'm not going to do kind things for my husband because that's wife duties. But on the flip side, they still expect traditional relationships from the man, like take me out to dinner, you pay for it, and all of that. And so dating and relationships have been greatly distorted compared to when we were kids growing up. And when I say some of the things on my channel, people look at me like I'm crazy. But I wanted people to hear from your mouth because you and I remember the times, the generation where things were different, they were better. We understand that the world is different. We know tomorrow ain't never coming back. You know, I told you I lost my mom recently. And one of the things that devastated me in my tears and my brokenness, because I realized that the generation that I knew, it's not coming back. It was community, it was family, it was faith. You know, we were unified. We had some of the best music back then. The gospel music was on point. The secular music, we had the Anita Bakers, we had the John P. Keys, we had Sade. And you said something that was very paramount. You said that we were trying to be world changers in our generation.
Trying to be world changers.
We wanted to be great.
Yes.
Gen X wanted to be great. And I'm not saying that Gen X men and women all did everything right. You know, it's not wrong with a woman getting her career and all that, but some women I think took it a little too far. I'm not against it. But when you think about love, dating, and relationships and marriage.
Well, let me be real clear. A woman's career, if she wants to be a wife, should never supersede her mission and her duty and her devotion to her husband and her family. No more than a man should sacrifice or more or less not take care of his wife and protect his woman. But nobody's teaching these women now. Because once again, in part, some of the grandmoms at that time, some of them, not all of them, were telling their daughters to go to school and get their education. And girl, don't worry about a man now. And some of the boomer fathers were telling their daughters that too. Look at Kendra G. And look at the quagmire that we have now. Because there was not balance and nuance added to the conversation.
What would you tell the younger generation of women about the things that's necessary to be a good wife? You had, I know you said you had your split, but what would you teach young women about the mistakes that you made in relationships and marriage, and how to maybe more or less, accentuate a man moving forward?
Absolutely. Well, I think when you're dating and you're going to be a couple, this communication. I think communication is the key that so many relationships and so many couples lack.
Right.
You have to do things as a partnership. You're going into this marriage, if that's what you choose to do, to be better. I'm not just.
And listen, my friend Greta is doing a great job, but even a lot of folks, men and women, have been psychologically manipulated into the word partnership. I'm going to break it down. You guys can see where I unanimously said there's no such thing as a partnership. It's husband and wife. And how and why egalitarian relationships ultimately destroy the sovereignty of a man.
To better him, and he's to better me. So we just go into this relationship making you better, you make me better, I make you better.
Let me challenge you something. I love what you just said. I agree with you fundamentally. I might differ a little bit, but listen to what I'm saying. I remember in the old school Greta, where it was husband and wife. As a husband, I love and support you, and you love and support me.
Absolutely.
A husband-wife dynamic, in my opinion, Greta, is different than a partnership. Partnership is a new term. I didn't hear the word partnership until I was in grad school.
Well, I'm like you.
Right. You never heard it.
That's the new thing.
That's a new thing. You never heard that word. You didn't hear it back in the 90s. It was husband and wife.
Marriage.
It was a marriage. Yes, ma'am. Right.
You have this new school era.
Right. My partner. It's a partner. No, you're in my partner. You're my wife.
We are a couple. We are a unit.
A unit, right.
You left your mother and father. We cleave
together.
There
you go, sis. Right. And so it's totally different.
It's this new thing.
It's a new thing. Because see, what partnership says, Greta, partnership says, I don't trust you to be the leader of my family. Therefore, I want to influence your leadership. A husband-wife says, I'm going to trust you and pray for you, and I'm going to trust God because I trust the process. That's something totally different.
Absolutely.
Did you see where I'm going at?
Absolutely. And
right.
I think when a man asks for your hand in marriage, he goes to your father or he asks for your hand, he is saying, I can take care of you.
Right. Exactly.
I can provide for you.
Right.
I can do.
And that was the generation I was from, where the man came to the father, talked to the father assessed the man to ensure that he was competent enough to carry on the mission that he taught his daughter, and then the man was competent enough that he gave the man over to his he gave the daughter over to the man. But see, we live in a generation now where this generation don't respect order. They don't respect the women don't respect masculine authority. Some of the young men don't respect it either. They disrespect the elders, and we wonder why we have so much chaos now. You did think that was the right thing to do if you wanted God to bless you and to bless your relationship. But it's problematic when you do things out of order. You can't say I love God on one end, but you're not following order. And that's what happens fundamentally now. The women are out of order, and some of the younger generation of men are out of order because they don't respect the elders. And some of the elders are out of order because they have not adequately taught the younger generation as well.
Things that needs to be done as a husband.
Right.
Being your covering, being there to protect you at all costs.
Right.
And I think a lot of people have gotten it mixed up. They've gotten it mixed up, and they just, they just. This new era stuff is, like you said, I heard the word partnership.
But ain't no partner. Ain't no partner in my house.
Partnerships when you're going into a business.
Say it one more time, cuz. Say it one more time. You and I can go into a business, we could be partners, business partners. But a husband-wife dynamic is totally different. And I'm going to tell you why it's different. God is not a partnership if you are a recipient of salvation.
That's right.
People won't get mad at me when I'm about to say this.
Oh, don't get mad.
But they're going to have to get mad. They're going to have to get mad, Greg, because you know I'm biting my tongue.
Don't get mad.
Listen, the scripture said, I didn't say that the woman was made for man. It doesn't mean that the woman's a slave. It just means that the woman was made to serve her husband. But the man also serves the wife too, but it's a different type of service. The man serves the woman by loving her and protecting her and giving her provision and guiding her, but the greatest love is to die for his wife. That's the greatest honor that a man can give a woman. But the love of a woman to a man is that she got to honor him, respect him, and obey his leadership. The Bible never told the woman to love her husband, but she did tell her to obey him, because obedience to a husband is respect. But the Bible told the man to love the wife, because women are insular, meaning women love to feel.
We're emotional creatures.
Emotional creatures. So she wanted to feel the love of her man. And so a woman feels love when a man gives us what's called eros love. That eros love, Greta, is touch, is speaking kind words to her,
absolutely,
and accentuating her love language. But now, men now, Greta, are going to what's called affection deprivation. As a licensed therapist, I know guys, Greta,
I agree with you 100%.
They ain't had no cat, Greta. They ain't had no cat in a year or two. They paid the bills, they married her, and this heifer took off. She ain't giving them no cat. And listen, you know what the crazy thing is? She'll tell him, you better not cheat. I'm like, heifer, if you ain't giving that man no cat, you cheating. You're the one that's cheating if you're not giving your man no loving. Because the Bible said that when you're married, the only time you're not giving that man no love is when you're fasting and praying. That's the only time. And then the Bible said, husband come back together so the devil won't come into the relationship. And so what do you miss the most when you think about music, relationships, courtship? What do you miss the most from Gen X?
Definitely the music.
Okay.
I can't get into this new era music.
The mumble rap.
Yeah.
That's called the mumble rap. Y'all know what the mumble rap is. that's that mumble rap music. Y'all know what the mumble rap is.
Who was your favorite secular artist back then?
Oh my gosh, we had so many.
We had Sade, Anita Baker. We had Kenny G. We had Keith Sweat. We had Troop. We had Guy. I mean, it was just different, man. And the gospel music was superior. We had John P. Key.
Yes, Smokey Norwood.
We had Smokey Norwood. We had Keith Hutchinson. I mean, what's the guy Hutchinson that passed away?
Yes.
We had Shirley Caesar. She's an old school throwback. Community choir music was the thing back in the day. Community choir was good.
And see, guys, I grew up in a time I was in the choir. I can show you guys some old choir stuff from my old church. I mean, if you missed the 90s, you don't know what you missed. The mid to the late 80s, early 90s, that 89-ish to 94-ish was some of the best times, guys, to be alive, man. Even some of the early 80s. The 70s wasn't bad either, because I grew up as a little boy in the 70s. I was born in 71. And, you know, some of the boomers probably remember, like, Love Together and Devotion, Andre Crouch, James Cleveland, even though he was messing with them boys back in the day. But if you didn't live that generation, you know, in the 70s when we played outside, we didn't have helmets, we had sunlight, the lights were on, we drank from a spigot, we drank from a rubber hose, there was a community. It was just a beautiful time to be alive, man. And I'm so grateful that I was born in Gen X. I wouldn't trade it for. I think Gen X was arguably the best generation where you got the best of both worlds, man. If you didn't live it, you won't know what I'm talking about. Basketball was superior. Football was superior. We were beginning to see technology proliferate. We still were dating. We still were doing the origamis and all the crazy stuff, you know. Men put in work. Women didn't have the same mindset. Being a 304 back then was shameful. And don't get it twisted. Women back then were getting it in. Some of them were, but they were just sneaky with it. They were just quiet that you didn't know about it because it was shameful.
Friend with Carl Reed from Commission. You remember Commission?
I remember Commission.
Take Six.
Take Six. That's
the Winans.
Yes.
It was just different. And I think it was so different, Greta, that when I see now, that's why I'm so passionate about yesterday. I know I'm not going back to yesterday, but I'm passionate about it, Greta, because I feel like the Gen X was the last great generation. I think it was the last bridge point. And then it seemed like around 94-ish, things just start taking a turn for the worse. It start taking a turn for the worse. What's your take on chicks now, say, Greta? You know, you got sons. And I know you want the best for your boys. And so, what's your take on these chicks that got multiple kids by multiple men to say, you got to pay all the bills and take care of my, not my children. You know, in the South, brother, we say children. Got to take care of all my children. If your son made good choices in their lives, went to school, would you want your son to settle for a chick that got multiple kids by multiple men? Yes or no?
No.
Tell the audience why. Because if I said, they say you hate black women.
No, because the dynamic is you will have to be connected to each one of those fathers.
Yes.
Now, if the fathers have passed away or something, that's a difference. But
fathers or father?
Father or fathers, if they've passed
away. If fathers, I still ain't messing with them.
I'm saying if
right,
it was
right.
like fathers have passed away, but you have to deal with each one of those dynamics.
That's a powerful point. Right, but I still wouldn't do it, but I understand your point.
I agree with you. Right. I don't want to date a man with any small children.
Right.
That's just
I respect that.
I mean, no small children. But my son, hitting a young lady with 4 children, with 4 different fathers, I know I don't have to marry her, but it'll be a problem.
It will be a problem for you. And look, let's be real, brother. Let's be real, brother. Shout out to my man Roger. He played basketball at Seton Hall. What was a chicken head back in the day? What was a chicken head?
Shout out to Peace of Right.
What was a chicken head? What was a chicken head?
Different people define chicken head.
What was your definition of a chicken head?
Kind of ways.
Right.
But she was not kind of like a loose woman.
She was a loose woman.
Yeah.
And listen.
Didn't have any class about
They have no
herself.
class. And listen, most chicks back in the 90s, I'm not saying some of them weren't doing dirt under the cover because they were, but I will argue that if they were doing dirt, they hid it because it was shameful.
That's right.
But not only that, most men back in the 90s, they courted women. Am I right or wrong?
They courted women.
How did men court women back in the 90s, brother? How did they court them?
It was cordial. They would court them. They would ask, their parents. Of course, it was big on parents. I can speak for my mother. She didn't play. I mean, you couldn't
Your
just
mom was
come
from the
up
old
to my-
school.
Yes, you couldn't just come up and think you were going to sit on my porch, that just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
She needed to know you. She needed to know your parents.
Your parents, right.
She needed to know,
Right.
what you were doing with your life before you come here with my daughter.
Right.
Now the parents don't know who the girl's
Right.
going with
Right.
or who they're dating or don't even inquire. You need to inquire what's best for your child.
What's best for your child, right.
So I think, I'm like you, our generation was best. We were classy.
We were classy.
We knew what we wanted. We, like you said, we had respect and supporting me would mean you need to go through my family.
So what did ran through mean for us as kids? If a girl was ran through, what did that mean back in the day? What did that mean?
Everybody.
Did you hear what this woman said, guys? She was Gen X. And even Gen X women understood what ran through was back in the day. It was shameful. But now, you got chicks that have been ran through. They got high standards. They don't want to serve a man. And they think they're better than the man that they're dealing with. They think they're better. And that's why I do these shows, to bring awareness to men that are looking for women that are traditional, even though it's hard to find. Because the world now and some of these modern women have a supremacist mindset. And it's highly detrimental to the psyche of a man. You won't put on this earth to assuage the emotions of a woman. You were put on this earth to protect and love her. But on the flip side, she was put on this earth to serve you first. And I know that sounds draconian, but that's how it is. That's how it was.
And everybody, and we knew too. We said, she messed with everybody.
So hold on, Greta. We know the Greta was ran through because Greta was married, but they ran through women get the top tier men back in the day. Yes or no?
No.
If a woman had a reputation of being ran through, did she get that same love and adulation as a woman that was respect on her body?
No, sir.
Right. One of the biggest things that women try to say that men do it. Men and women are not the same. I'm not saying it's morally right that men do it either, but we're not the same. It's no different than, brother, if you met a man, he told you, he said, look, brother, before I met you, I slept with 2 guys. You ain't gonna want to be with that dude. He can say, well, the Lord saved me. That was in my past. You say, I'm sorry. I'm glad Jesus saved you, but you can't be my husband. You can say the devil is a lie. Am I right or wrong?
Well, I think it's a different standard when it comes to guys. Because like you said, guys can have a lot of girls and it's okay. But with a female, as like you said, been run through with a lot of men, she's going to be shunned.
She's going to be shunned, right. And some get mad at that. But I said it's a different standard. There are things that women can do that we can't do.
Absolutely.
Listen, brother. There are women now that have been with other women, and they might get a pass, but a man can never be with another man.
Absolutely.
If that man tell you, can you imagine, Greta, if you met your man and they said,
that would be a no for me.
Wait, watch this, Greta. Watch this. They said, Greta, that's your husband?
Did you hear what she said? She said that would be a no for me. Did y'all hear what she said? She said that would be a no for her. Because women are not wired to have the thought of their men being entered. And conversely, men are not wired to have the thought of their women being entered.
And you say, yeah, that's my man. Greta, when he was in college, he hit one of the football players. I don't think your mind can handle that. But now, if he told you, well, Greta, that's in my past, and you judging me, how would you respond? How would you respond to that? You married to him. Your girlfriends tell you you already married. And he said, I didn't want to tell you, because women love to lie about their past. They lie all the time about how many men they've been with. But he said, that was in my past, the Lord forgave me. Because you're going to laugh at this, Greta. I used to tell a chick, I said, your soul might be saved, but your box is sinner. That box is still standing. That box, Greta.
I think that's a bit much.
That's a bit much. It's marriage fraud.
That's a bit much
right.
To find out that my husband had been with a man.
But what do you say about women that lie to men? Because you're correct, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Women can't have the thought of their man being penetrated by a man, but men can't have the thought of their woman also being penetrated by multiple men. We're just not wired for it. And so many chicks rather come into relationships lying. They'll lie there behind them.
Yeah, and guys do too.
They do. But I'm talking about the thing that's most important.
You don't want that man to lose respect for you. I think you're trying to.
You're trying to preserve your chastity, right?
Yeah.
But
because you don't want to tell him really how many men you have been with.
But listen.
Because he's not going to tell you all the women he's been with.
But here's the difference. You have a responsibility. This is what you can do. If you feel like that man's standard is not your standard, they say, you know what, I see right now, that's not what you don't even have to tell him. You just be honest with him and say, you know what, because some say, well, that's my business. That's not. No, it is that man's business if he's going to be your wife. If you find out his standard is not your standard, they say, you know what, based on what you're telling me, I'm going to keep that to myself, and we just won't be together.
Right.
Because at that point, you get to keep your secrets.
Right.
He get to keep his dignity as a man.
Absolutely.
But you don't start the relationship off lying, and then you say, oh, that was in my past. You can't say that. No different than me or you. If I was trying to holler at you and say about, I said, I'm like that guy, what's that guy named? Caldwell. He said, I'm delivered with a T. He said, I'm not gay no more, I'm delivered. And you find out after I married him, after I married you, that I've been with some men's, not men, Greta, but men's with a Z. And you go into coaching meetings, and they're looking at you and say, Greta, that's you? That would destroy you as a woman. Am I right or wrong?
It would destroy me.
It would destroy you knowing
he was not honest.
He was not honest.
I had an option if I wanted to continue that relationship.
That's my point.
Or I wanted to go.
That's my point.
And say I can't do this.
Right.
But I think that is a major issue for me. Because you had an opportunity, and I know it probably would have changed the dynamic of our relationship if you were pursuing me and we were really to the point where we were going to get married. You
right.
did not want me to.
You got to have full disclosure.
I am sorry. Yes.
You got to have full disclosure. And you got to give that person the chance to choose.
That's right.
You got to give that person a chance to choose.
We agree 100%.
Because if you don't, now it's marriage fraud. That's fraud. And you trick that person. So if that person say, okay, well, you can't get mad at that person leave you. You can't get mad. You can't get mad if he decide to leave you or whatever, because you use deception to get them. And that's why I said people have to be fundamentally honest. Can God forgive you of your sins? Yes. But you're going to reap what you sow. Folks think whether they can sin and then all of a sudden they can scapegoat Jesus and use the magic wand. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Your soul, like I said, I tell you, I said, your soul is saved, but your box is sinning. That box is still standing in need of prayer. That box needs to that box needs to go to Soul Saving Station of Deliverance and get that. I'll be fun. But that box brother needs to get delivered, man. With a T. It needs to get delivered with a T on the end, because it's different. I know you said you're not no longer married. If you got married again, what would you look for in a husband? What are the main things you're looking for in a husband?
If I got married, I would look for wholeheartedly honesty, respect, a Christian man, and someone that loves me wholeheartedly. You know, it's hard out here now. Dating.
It is.
It's very hard. I mean,
what is the biggest struggle that you see in dating? Right.
And they cheat.
Right.
You know, it's no commitment.
Right.
Commitment to one person.
Oh yeah.
You find people now that multiple. You know, he's talking to multiple men.
Oh yeah. If a man, listen, let's be real, Greta. Men that put in the work and they make done well for themselves. I'm not saying it's biblically right, but they got options. I'm not trying to be arrogant, Greg. If I was a single man in the dating game now, I would be a bad man. I'd be a 5-star, Greg. I'd be a 5-star basketball recruit. I'd be a 5-star basketball.
Absolutely. And I agree with you with 5-star because I know what my level, my standard is in a man. Why compromise? I know what I'm used to. I know the lifestyle that I'm used to living, and I try to match that when I'm dating a man. I mean, just. Why would I settle for someone less that can't provide the life that I'm used to living?
I respect that, but I think, brother, and you tell me what you think. I see where you're going at, but you tell me what you think. I mean, you and I are around the same age. We talked about how older men like younger women, especially older men with money and status. So older men with money and status, a lot of times, they may or may not say, I'm not dealing with a woman my age, I want something younger because they're more youthful, you know, they're more prettier. That's their choice. Would you date a blue-collar guy that was a truck driver? He's a good man. He might not make as much as you, maybe, but he treated you well.
Absolutely.
You could do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you still could respect him as your husband?
Yes.
And let him lead you?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
I could.
You could?
I honestly could.
Okay, I respect that.
Because, you know, there are some, you know, blue-collar workers that, I mean, that work hard. I mean, you're working hard, you're providing for me, loving me, not out here cheating and doing who knows what. Absolutely.
Would you date a man your height? Said the devil is a liar. Said the devil is a liar. Said the devil is a liar. You said that real slow. Why you start laughing for? Said the devil is a liar.
The conversation we had last evening.
And see, guys, the hypergamy not only is about money, but the hypergamy also is about height as well. It also ties into height as well.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't want anyone shorter than me.
How tall are you, brother? 5'5"?
I'm 5'5".
Okay.
So I wouldn't want.
What's your preference?
Shorter. I like 5'10".
But what is your optimum preference? Like your dream guy, what would his height be?
Maybe 6 foot.
Oh, so 6 foot.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, so 6'5", too tall. 6'5", too tall.
I don't know, not too tall, but I've never dated a guy that tall.
Oh, you never dated a guy that tall.
So I can't say.
How tall was
no.
your husband, your ex-husband?
About 5'10".
He was 5'10".
He was 5'10".
Okay. Would you date a man with kids?
Little kids?
No little kids.
No little kids.
Grown
A
kids.
man with, yes, grown kids, yes. No little kids.
Okay.
No little kids.
Okay. How about if he had 3 baby mamas, but all his kids are grown?
Otherwise, still living?
They treat you well. They married. All his wives are married. They respectful to you.
Don't know.
They treat you well.
He has had 3 wives.
He had baby
3
mamas.
baby mamas.
He had 3 baby mamas, but the baby mamas got married.
Oh yeah.
And they treat you well.
Yeah.
They don't have no beef with you. His kids are grown.
Absolutely.
So what's the youngest that you would go? The youngest would be what?
The youngest man I would date?
No, not in age. I'm saying. No, we don't want you messing with no YNs. We don't want you messing with no YNs, Greg.
What did you say? What's the question?
Like the youngest man, like when it come down to the youngest man when it come down to, you know, like what I ask you, like the child. What's the youngest the child in a dating relationship?
senior in high school.
Senior in high school. You can't do all that. No teenagers. No teenagers.
All my children are grown.
All children grown, right?
You know.
Listen, Greta, they think I be stunting, man. They I see you over there, DeBory. Look, Greta. They didn't know I was pressure, Greta, back in high school, man. They know was a pressure. Was I something slight or was I pressure?
You were pressure.
So listen. Tell me what made me
He
pressure.
was Mr. President.
Tell me about the presidency, Greta. Tell me about the presidency.
He was elite, prestige. He dressed nice. He walked with authority.
Did y'all hear what she said? I won't something slight. I was pressured. I was 6'4", president of my high school class. Well, I won it, but they took it from me. And I was dignified, man. You know, I was popular, one of the most popular guys in my high school. Played basketball. And I was an all-around good guy, man. Everybody loved me in school, man. Everybody loved me because, you know, I was a down-to-earth guy.
See, say it one more time, Greta, because they think I'll be stunned, Greta. They think I'll be stunned, Greta.
I knew Marlon was going to be a world changer.
A world changer, yeah. They think I'll be stunned, man.
He was focused.
Right.
He reminded me of Shaq.
Shaq.
You know, he was
my mom used to call me Shaq. Fight foul. Yeah.
He was destined.
Yeah.
I knew he was destined for greatness.
See,
they used to say guys back in the day that I was militant. I don't know why, but they thought I was militant back in the day.
Appreciate that.
It was no idea that he was going to be in somebody's prison.
Right. I was focused, man. I was focused.
Walked the walk,
right. Walk the talk.
And
But
so proud of him.
did I have some swag though, Greta?
Yes.
Did I have some swag?
He should have been our president.
Tell them about the presidency, Greta, because they stole him from. Tell the people what happened.
They stole the presidency.
Tell them what happened, man.
From you with
Right.
one slip up.
I slipped up, Greta. I slipped up.
Our president. He ran a smooth campaign.
I ran a faithful race and slipped up, Greta.
Stolen from me.
And so I said the S word, Greta. They told me to sit down. But that line came out, Greta. What did the crowd say? I want you to cap. Tell the audience what the crowd said when they told me to sit down.
Well, when it happened, everybody was,
They say Jay. They say Jay.
Jay.
Right.
Jay.
Right.
Jay.
They were pumping the crowd. They wanted the Lion King.
wanted that lion.
They wanted the Lion King. They wanted.
But they stole it from me.
They stole it from me. Look,
It's been fun.
It's been fun, man. But listen, sweetie, this has been an awesome conversation, man, guys. A blast from the past. 35 years later, man. Listen, man. I enjoyed this conversation with my dear friend, high school classmate. Different world, different time, but God is able, God is good. Thank you, Greta, for this powerful interview, baby. Thank you, sweetie. All right. Bye-bye. All right.
All right, guys. Y'all heard that. That was the high school classmate, guys. Blast from the past real quick. Let me drop this off real quick, guys. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. And shout out to O'Shea. You know, this is how unfortunate it is now for men in dating. And I'm going to end the stream, guys, in a minute. I got things to do. I got to get out of here. I got to get on the road. But I'm going to show you guys this clip a little bit real quick. Short guy wants to delete himself because he can't be intimate. And this is how bad it's gotten. So I want you guys to look at this. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I'm gonna keep it stacked, bro.
And he wanted to delete himself because he's short, and that's not right.
I wasn't purposely trying to become a loser or anything along those lines, but I don't know. I kind of saw me going down the least popular path in life.
At first, I thought this was a joke because of the title. The title is called "I'm a Loser. It Is What It Is." Shout out to the short and bald dude. But hey, this is actually serious.
And I don't know. I just didn't steer clear from it, man. I just kept on going. Like I seen I was going the wrong way and just said, I'm already on this downtrodden path, so I'm gonna continue. Type that as like that's really how I was. And I'm a loser, not in the sense that, you know, I'm unproductive or don't do anything useful in my life. You know, I still work a full-time job as of right now. You know, definitely have a pretty good savings. You know, I'm financially savvy, smart. You know what I'm saying? My finances are in order.
So listen to what he's saying. a lot of dudes are doing the right things. You have a job, you're responsible, you're gainfully employed, you actually save money. It's a lot who can't save any money. That's a success in itself. But the guy who is probably unlike many Americans with being responsible is still calling himself a loser, although it appears he's doing the right thing. I have no idea what he's talking about when he says he's going down the wrong path.
Finances are in order like that, but I don't really have hobbies, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, y'all gonna say I'm crying about my height, but it is what it is, bro. Like, this is a common reoccurrence on this channel at this point, so I don't know. I just found out my cooked. I just found out I'm romantically cooked as far as my SMV goes because of immutable characteristics. Keyword height. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, that kind of led me going down the wrong path, man. And it left me feeling like complacent with where I am in life. And don't get me wrong, I'm in a very comfortable spot in life, but it's like, I feel like you should never be complacent in life. Because once you're complacent, I feel like that's when death comes earlier.
Oh, okay. So he's short. Obviously, he's bald. So because he's short, he's sexually cooked. Maybe that means that he feels like he shouldn't try harder because since he's sexually cooked, it's almost like whatever he does financially or educationally wise, it won't matter because he's always going to be short. So then why should he try to get more out of life?
Once you're complacent, I feel like that's when death comes earlier. That, you know, and I kind of do want to get this simulation over with. But anyway, that's besides the point.
And that's unfortunate. A short guy can't or don't get love. He's minimized because of his height. And these are the struggles that a lot of men or some men go through, average or short men, because average women don't deem them to be attractive. And I find that highly problematic because it's shattering to a man's self-esteem.
I don't know, man. I kind of...
Wait, simulation, bro? Hold on. Wait, go stop the show. You want to get what over with? Bruh sounding like, you can tell something. This is really bothering dude, man. So, like I said, man, you never know what men are going through. Men, mental health is down bad. It sounds like this dude might be on the path to self-deletion. I'm not sure, but
I feel like I let my younger self down, but not really so much in a sense because I didn't know that height would be this drastic to overall life quality for men. So it's like, you know, I couldn't foresee what I'm experiencing now as a child. But I don't know. Like I said, I really don't have a social life. I don't have friends or anything like that, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm not you know, I'm not on that type of time with it. I actually don't mind it. You know, I'm fine with it. You know, it's called being self-actualized, self-realized, and, you know, understanding and accepting who you are as a person. And I kind of came to this realization a couple years back that, yeah, I might be a loser, man, because why don't I have friends, bro? Why don't I have friends? Why don't I have a social life? Why don't I have hobbies outside of making money? Really, my only hobby is doing crypto, which is, of course, I got into crypto to make money. Like, I got into crypto back when I was in college.
Okay, so his problem is just not women. His problem is like anti-social. Because let me just say this. It don't really matter how short or how tall you are, right? If you're a likable person, your chances are extremely higher to clap cheeks. Like, if people like you and they want to work with you, it's easier for you to build the world that you want to see. And as a man, it don't really matter how tall you are. You can build what you want in life. Like, for example, I got a homeboy. He just went to this big video game festival in like Orlando. They've been having it there for like, I don't know, like 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And the dude that started it was literally in his garage. And this is not like the founder of this dude is not like a...
If you guys think it's harder for men to date in modern times, I want you to hit one. I'm going to end this soon because I have to go about 2 more minutes. I got to go. I got things to do. Thank you for Gregory Scholar for being the #1 sponsor of the stream, followed by Ray Johnson and also Quiet Faith. Thank you guys for being so kind. I really appreciate it. But I got to get on the road in a minute. But if you guys think men have a hard time dating in modern times, hit 2 or hit 1.
I don't know, like a really like handsome guy or something like that. But because it's his convention, he can almost clap anything he wants. He does it once a year. So it's not going to matter anymore that he's not attractive or he's short or he's fat. He's creating the world that he wants to see. But if nobody likes you and you don't have a hold on. But if nobody likes you and you have a hard time making friends, it's hard to get women when nobody likes you because you're antisocial.
Before this bull run even started, type is back. You know what I'm saying? I was writing 8-page papers on crypto, just hoping to make it, and then eventually I would make it, which is crazy to me. It's truly a blessing. But you know, I forgot what this whole video was about for real. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm still feeling a little under the weather, so that's affecting my voice. Hope y'all don't mind. But anyway, in regards to what I was talking about, I don't really have a social life. I'm saying I never felt it imperative, especially as an adult. Like maybe when you're younger, you kind of want a social life and you kind of want to connect with different souls in this universe. But
So is he socially awkward? Is it a dating crisis or both? What do you guys think? Socially awkward, dating crisis, or both? Majority of black men, major majority of black men, 2 majority of black men overall, no doubt. Shout out to Sister Bashir. How you doing, dear? What's going on? Pleasure to see you.
for me, it's just whatever, bro. I mean, it ain't. I'm not fully opposed to having friends or, you know, bonding with other people, but it's just I don't really care for it. Like,
okay, so the guy is confusing. On one end, his life is cooked. He's okay with not having friends or sometimes even women, but he wonders, why don't he have a social life? So in one aspect, he cares, and then he doesn't care. I don't know, man. Like, you know, the guy's kind of going back and forth. Let me just say this. I don't care how old you are. Having friends or acquaintances is not just a teenage thing. Look, I live in Uganda, you know what I mean? And I have friends here in the American diaspora community. I have friends that are in the Ugandan community. You need friends. You need to be around people that genuinely like you and can do stuff for you. There's nothing wrong with having that value exchange with somebody, male or female, in your life. But you got to stop acting as if it doesn't bother you when it does. If you want friends, you want people in your life, you want to interact, you have to actually try to do that instead of trying to make excuses. Like, at one point you don't want to do it, then you come back and say, oh, okay, well, I ain't tripping, it's fine. But then, well, why don't I have it? You got to make an effort. Otherwise you'll end up like this guy, being complacent because you just keep telling yourself it's okay. That's why it's complacent.
give or take, and I'm likely gonna leave that on the table. I don't really care for relationships or friendships like that. I mean,
but you just said that you want relationships and friendships. You made a whole video about it. Again, man, like, some of y'all gonna have to be serious about what you want in life. It bothers you that you don't have it, but you don't really take it seriously, but you're making a video about it. Whole bunch of girls are like that. Oh, I don't want a boyfriend. I don't want a husband. Oh, but I wish I had one. But you're not making any efforts towards so it doesn't happen for you.
relationships, as in platonically speaking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely down to meet new women, have sex with them, and, you know, see where it goes from there. But I mean, as far as same-sex platonic relationships, I don't really, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think another reason why I was led down this path is lack of female companionship throughout life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not absolutely, you know what I'm saying, never had nobody in life, but, you know, it's like I said, I've gone like 8, 9, 10 year droughts with no contact from women. you know, not on that level.
Whoa. Okay, let me kind of get back to the situation here. He wants to have like female interaction, but he hasn't. But his male on male platonic, he doesn't care about it. Like, let me just tell you guys something, man. This is something that's very important. If you have a good male friend, especially a dude that's a holla monster, that's a go-getter, and I had one, man. His name was Gerald. We called him Big Head Tyrese. He's from Bakersfield. He came to American River College, man, for like 2 years. I don't know where he at now, man, but shout out to you if you see this video. And he would be on every.
All right, guys, we're gonna stop it here. Folks are going to sleep. But anyway, we're going to end it here, guys. Thank you to those who are watching. Thank you, Bashir. Stay outside with the guard. Guys, we're going to end it here. I just want to go give you guys a blast from the past. I really appreciate it. Some of you guys went to sleep. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to Gregory Scotland once again for being the #1 sponsor. Shout out to Quiet Faith and Reed Johnson, guys. I got to get on the road. I appreciate it, brothers. Y'all take care of yourself. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, guys. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. Guys, we are signing off, guys. Thank you.